Leafs talk. JD Bunkis from his place. Sam McKee from the
Parts
Unabomber
unknown.
bunker. Like, what are you got? What are you hiding back there? Like, what is that blanket hiding? The people want to know, buddy. That's the setup. I know you're at your mother-in-law's place.
Yeah,
Which,
I am. I'm by the modem. I want to make sure I got a good connection for everybody doing Leafs talk here. So I'm in the basement. I'm beside the furnace. I got all the electrical parts behind me here. So I set up my
Sportsnet hat going. You just company manning all the way. Like,
buddy, I had the worst hairdo. I'd legitimately look like a hostage if I wasn't wearing this hat. I had to get this in there. But I'm downstairs. God bless her heart. Carol Levesque, she set up the sheet for me. She got the desk for me. She got everything ready to rock.
Sheet for you. Boy, that probably took her a long time to set that up for you.
Bless her heart. But she did it.
Set up. She really went out of her way to make sure that you were doing good tonight, buddy. She was slaving away for hours on your set. She's got a future in set design, big guy. Like, she is. You got this Sportsnet hat going, she's gonna get scooped by someone after this. All right, so Leafs win in overtime. They get it. That's the formula. They figured out the overtime formula. Have an extra guy. That's the way that you should do it. Marner scores it, but tonight was about two things for me. One big positive, one negative. The positive was William Nylander. He was a big ball of flame, man. He was incredible tonight.
He should have had a hattie. That power play where Tavares put it out in front of the net, and he had that wide open net in his sweet spot, low blocker where he loves to shoot it. He just kind of healed it a bit and missed. He had a couple more chances even after that where he shot it and Vladar made some good saves. Man, he is out of his mind good right now. It's just like you said, the skating is amazing. The vision, the passing, the chemistry with Matthews, it's the total package. When I went to the game with Borny and Kipper against the Islanders, we were sitting down close. Borny said the best thing to me about his skating. I don't know if he's ever said it to you or said it on the show, but it just reminded me again tonight. He said that he could skate with a glass of water on top of his head and it wouldn't shift. Yeah. Like, it's just so flat and balanced, and it's just perfect strides. I'm so impressed with him right now, man. Like, he looked amazing tonight. He was their best guy by far.
Yeah, clearly he was. And 5-point night for him. That's a career high for him. I think it's pretty cool that already this early in his career that he's got now more 2-goal games than his dad ever did. Not exactly like his dad was a nobody.
Really?
They flashed that
his
stat
brother
on the
played
screen.
His dad played a long time.
That's why it was an impressive statistic, pal.
Wow, that is very impressive.
The skating has always been apparent. Mm-hmm. The lower body has always been freakish, right? Mm-hmm. He's just got that classic, you dream of it, lower body, the legs, the butt. You know what I mean? Like, he's just that guy. He's a horse, and he's putting it all together this season, man. So good for him. Thought he was flying around again tonight. And to me, I think that all the Leaf stars are just feeding off of each other right now. They all want to just kind of one-up one another. It's been a bit of the Marner effect, but you're seeing it that it's completely permeated from the stars. They know that they have to carry the offense every night, and they look comfortable doing it.
So he's definitely going to be chirping his dad tonight. His dad, by the way, played 920 career NHL games, had 209 goals. So it's pretty impressive that he's already passed him at this point in his career. I think he's going to get a couple more 2-goal games in his career. Something tells me that that's probably not his last one. So
he's playing. He might get it next game.
Yeah, honestly, the stars are just absolutely carrying this team. I saw that. Was it Jonas Siegel put out a tweet about them carrying? I think they have like 66% of the team's goals over the last little bit, like out of the last little stretch. Like, they've just absolutely carried it. And listen, I think what you want to see from the bottom six when they're not producing offense, which they're clearly not, is just some sustained zone time for them and kind of, creating energy and just having shifts where the puck is in the other end of the ice. And I thought I saw a little bit of that tonight. I thought they were maybe carrying the play a little bit better, having it in the other end of the ice. Of course, not doing anything with it. Alex Kerfoot clearly never going to do anything with the puck.
I tweeted it, man, but we now know what the opposite of the Midas touch is. It's whenever Kerfoot touches the puck. God, that is what it's like. Midas touches one end, Alex Kerfoot touching a hockey puck in the offensive zone is the other end of that.
Yeah, no, I it was a very interesting bottom six tonight, obviously, without our boy Pierre Engvall suspended for his vicious slash of my son, Sean Dursey. Deserved disgusting act by him on my son. So I'm really happy that he got a game for that one. Joey Anderson, I forgot he was playing until he got tripped by Vladar there in the third period.
Nice play by him there, but yeah,
for sure.
Did not notice him one time before that.
Wayne Simmons with a couple bad penalties, the exact opposite of what he can't do. But outside of that, I thought they had a respectable night. And honestly, I wouldn't say the team played great, but I think the big story of why the goals went in the net was Matt Murray.
100%.
I don't think I saw a lot of people saying that, it's not the Leafs, their best night or whatever. I thought the Leafs played fine. I just think that Matt Murray was pretty bad.
So before we do Murray, I just want to talk about Simmons because you talked about the bottom six. Leafs were caving him in before Simmons took that penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a believer in that penalty. I tweeted as much. I think that's fine. Somebody mugs Austin Matthews and Wayne Simmons is on the ice. What do you want him to do? Do you really think that he's not going to go up to Zadorov there and give him a cross check? Of course
I was more worried about the trip in the third period that gives him a power play.
But 9 times out of 10, that doesn't get called. That was clearly the refs were already gave the Leafs 3-0, and they went, you gave them the one extra one. Now we're going to give you the ensuing power play. But I did think that it changed the game. It did, clearly, because Calgary scored, and then from that point on, I thought it was a pretty even game. And I would say this, man, normally I feel like the Leafs are always, or on most nights, the team that played better. I didn't feel that way tonight. I didn't think they had a poor performance. Okay. No, I didn't think that they had a poor performance. I wasn't looking at them like, ugh. But no, I thought that Calgary was better than them at even strength tonight. And Matt Murray absolutely killed them. You're right. The Simmons trip was not a good one, but it was
he didn't get another shift.
They have to call that. Dude, it was the exact same one as with Sandin getting the high stick in overtime, where you have to call it because it happens with the stick, loose, errant stick. But when you just look at it, you say, it's pretty soft, pretty unfortunate for the players that end up incurring the penalty. Murray tonight was his worst since game one.
It was scary. To me, it was scary because it was not confidence. It was lacking confidence looking not ones that are just, the puck beats them, gets by. None of the goals I really liked. I guess the first one was
tonight. 3?
A lot of posts. And the first one, okay, I'll quibble with, but I didn't even think the second one, maybe it took a little bit of a tip. Didn't love it. The third one, was the third one that squeaked through him, or was that the fourth one?
That was the fourth one because that was the go-ahead goal.
Yeah.
No.
It was the go-ahead goal. So I didn't like his game at all tonight. Not only did he let in some bad ones, I thought he didn't look confident on ones that beat him, hit the post. It's just, you can tell what I'm learning with him pretty early on here in however many games we've watched him play now, that you can really, I guess this is a stupid thing. You can tell this with a lot of goalies, but you can really tell when he's on and locked in, and you can really tell when he's on his game. And I feel like you can get a feel for when nights, we've had conversations after games, even when they've won and he's made a lot of saves, where we're I don't know, maybe he wasn't at his best tonight. For example, who did they in Tampa, right? Yeah. Tampa, we didn't think he was he wasn't bad, but you can kind of tell when he's not at his absolute tip top, and you could kind of tell early on that he wasn't really sharp tonight. So listen,
I thought he's let in one more. I thought he'd let in one more, a bad one that I thought there were two things. One, I thought there was a conversation after the fourth goal to maybe pull him from the game.
Yeah.
They were trailing, and I thought, but you don't usually see that in the third, that's not a traditional spot. That's a bit of a show-up spot, but it was such a bad goal that I thought, hey, maybe they do this, maybe they shake it up, because he clearly didn't have it. Man, he let in one goal where they hit the post, he was beat badly before they scored.
That's the one off the sideboards, the one that Trevor Lewis shot in, which was a bad one as well.
It was not a good night for him. He wasn't confident. It's what are his signs when he's bad? It looks like his movement cross his crease is not great, and he sinks too low in his net. And those markers were there again tonight. And we've talked a lot about how he's been great. And I mentioned the Kevin Woodley stat about before the Tampa game, he hadn't let in a goal that was analytically considered bad. And tonight I think that he really changed those numbers. There was 3 of them. He does get the net though on Tuesday, in my opinion. You roll right back to him, right?
Well, the only way I would go with it is because if you're kind of treating Samsonov like your backup, that would be the backup kind of start, playing against maybe one of the worst teams in the league on home ice. To me, I don't think you would view it as you're going to Samsonov because you're worried about Murray as a starter. To me, it would be a traditional spot where you'd start a backup. Yeah, it's fine if you want to get Murray back on track and play a bad team.
I'm going to Murray there because I want my guy to have a bit of a softer start, find his footing again.
I see both sides of it.
I'm not letting him sit for whatever, basically an entire week with that on his conscience. He's been hot. He's played well. I give him the net. And the other part of it is I actually want to show Samsonov, you're not the typical backup goaltender. You're a 1B type. That's what you want him thinking all season long, right? Be ready, stay ready. This could be your net at any given time. So, no, you are still going to play in high leverage, big time games. Murray's not getting all the big ones. You're not getting all the softies.
Yeah. I think that's a fair perspective as well. It's just, to me, like, I don't know. I think that Samsonov's been pretty good too. And it's just I guess it's probably going to be Murray. You're right. I think they probably will go back to Murray just to kind of solidify that he's the starter and kind of go with them here. But I wouldn't be completely offended if they went to Samsonov in terms of just treating him kind of like the 1B guy. It was a 1B start. A home ice start against a bad team is the classic 1B start. So I'll be interested to see how they're going to handle it because, Mr. Clandestine, Sheldon Keefe's like, oh, we've got a plan that we're going to tell no one, including the goalies. It's like, well, okay. All right there, Mr. Clandestine. We get it. You're Mr. Secretive. Yeah.
Secret agent, man. The other big positive for me tonight, other than the top guys, because, Marner was his usual awesome self.
Yeah.
I really felt like Matthews was buzzing again tonight. He was just around it. It almost was, to me, as though the physical play with him early, kind of get engaged in it, had him engaged.
100%.
Yeah, had him engaged in the entire game. Woke him up, had him in it. He was just there the entire night. Tavares did his usual thing, but Bunting was the other guy tonight. He was just around it, around the puck all night long. That was the first game, by the way, the Leafs won. Did you hear that in the broadcast? It's the first game that they've won where they've let in more than 4 goals or 4 or more.
Really? I didn't hear that stat.
Yeah. They were 0-4-5.
That surprisses me.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it doesn't surprise me. Yeah, because they scored 5 goals every game. Yeah, it's true. They're just playing such a different style this year than they have in years past, so I guess that kind of makes sense, but that is somewhat surprising. I thought that Bunting finish was, it comes off the boards, but that's a tough play for him to kind of catch that behind his shoulder and to shovel it in the net in one motion. Listen, he's been good. What is that, an 8 game point streak for him now? Like that's his first goal
at home.
It's which is crazy to think, but like he has kind of played the role perfectly on that line with those guys. He's been a facilitator. He's been going to the right areas. He hasn't been demanding the puck. He's been getting assists. Like I think it was, like I said, it was an 8 game now it's an 8 game point streak, but this was his first goal in 7 or 8 games. Like it's been a long time since he's actually scored, but he's been really, really facilitating for those guys. So got to give him credit. I thought he was awesome tonight. I hated him taking that penalty behind the net when they were going to go on the 4-minute power play, and he gets that stupid pride penalty where he gets into the face of whoever and they just take him. And sure, you can quibble with it being a rough and just taking one guy, and it's kind of a tough spot to do that. But at the same time, if you're Bunting, has he had the most minor penalties called, like close to most minor penalties called on him in the league? Like he's in the top 5. You got to know your reputation in that spot, and they're going to be looking at you like, hey man, we know your game out here. I hated them taking one, but I understand them doing with Bunting considering his reputation. But other than that, I thought he's been good, and it's been like him last year. He's looked like he did last year, which is really encouraging for them because they need his production. They need him to be good in the top 6.
They need his production. They need him being a rat around the net who's 100%. Just annoying other teams and is in somebody's kitchen. Him just taking a beating in front is the role that he needs to play. But he's got that little bit of extra finish, that little bit of extra skill to make those plays. He's got good vision. He knows his role on those lines. He makes a decent amount of good plays. There's something to be said for guys who can play with good players. He can clearly do that. His role in this team it's a weird one because earlier in the season I said I wanted to see him down the lineup because if you're making a determination on a guy like that, what you really want is if you're paying long term, what are you independent of players like Matthews and Marner and Tavares and Nylander? Thing is, those guys are here for the next couple of seasons. My ideal Bunting contract is, and he probably doesn't take it, but I'm thinking that you offer him a 3-year deal at around $2.5 million per season and say, yeah, guess what? This entire time you get to play with these guys. you'll still come up for a new deal when you're a younger guy. You might be able to get another cash out contract. I don't think that you can afford to really give him term if it's anything higher than that.
No.
And to me, it just still remains a thing where he can be good. He's solid. You really want to keep him, but that role that they have him in is just, it's too prime. It's too valuable. It's too attractive around the league to give him too much.
To me, you got to be real careful with that contract.
Yeah.
Like it's a scary one to kind of, like you said, I like that amount of time, that 3-year window, but you got to be careful with that AAV. And he's probably agentless since he fired his last agent for getting him the worst contract in sports history with the $900K.
But it is kind of the best too. It is kind of the best. He was like, if Bunting goes and plays more years with the Coyotes,
it doesn't matter. He's making $900K no matter what.
No, nobody knows who he is. He's still making around that kind of money. Maybe he's making what, 1.25?
Yeah.
And instead nobody knows who he is. No, this has been a godsend for him. And that's why I would, this is where Dubas really does have to play hardball if he's still the general manager after this year, if he's the guy that's signing contracts. It's you got to squeeze those middle to bottom guys. Like
100%.
What's the bad contract on this team right now? It's not the stars. It's Kerfoot. It's the guy that you let get $3.5 million because you thought he was going to be a
played a game.
Exactly. And so for a guy like Michael Bunting, I don't think those are the contracts that you can miss on. Man, look, Nick Ritchie, same thing, right? Peter Mrazek, guys that are, Mrazek was supposed to be a backup goalie. Ritchie was supposed to be a guy that you hoped could play in your top six, but maybe be a contributor down the lineup. Those are the ones that this team can't miss. Engvall to a degree.
And you had to send assets out the door to get those guys off the books. Like you had to move down in the first round with Mrazek. You had to send a second. And I know they got Lyubushkin, who was good for them last year, but you still had to send a second round pick out the door to get Ritchie off the books. So you got to be careful with those contracts. Like that's what kills all these teams. We talk about it all the time. Those middle-class contracts are the ones that always kill you. So I hope they can figure out something with Bunting. To me, it seems like the guy, like, everything he says, he seems to be Mr. Toronto. He loves being here.
He seems to love the city. He likes the guys he gets to play with. That's all I'm saying is you have leverage there. You don't want to insult the guy.
No.
But to me, that's actually a fair deal. And tonight, that's what it is to me. You were good, but you're still a winger. You don't play center. You're not in a depth role. You're not driving your own line. And to me, right now, given this current cap situation on this team, your earning potential is $3 million. And I think for Bunting, it should be a little under that and a shorter deal. Anyway, he was great tonight. The other guy?
What else
you got any other thought on that?
Well, no, I just got a couple other things. What do you got?
Yeah. My only other guy was, I have two small things other than seeing Kadri play, which I just love Kadri, man. Like
I love that he scored. And he, to me, honestly, like I understand what he looked like in the Avs uniform. But there's something about him in that flame. Maybe it's just because it's such a gorgeous uni. But he looks like it looks like he's played there for 10 years. It looks great. It looks great on him. He looks awesome out there. Beautiful. I adore that man. I have nothing but love for that man. It was a rocky finish here. It was a rocky sort of tenure with him. But I always loved them coming to the OHL. And man, watching what Kerfoot's been doing this year, like. I feel the trade's always been horrible, but there's been moments where you could like sell yourself on like, oh, Kerfoot's contributing. He's been okay, blah, blah, blah. You kind of like try to make these stupid arguments to sell yourself that it wasn't the worst trade of all time. And then you're like, oh, no, wait, it was the worst trade of all time.
It's so hard not to think about what that team would have been had they just rolled Kadri back. And I got to put my hand up. I was on, you got to trade Kadri Island. I never would have done that deal. I did believe that it was a scenario where, man,
for the record, I never wanted to trade him ever.
Yeah,
I never wanted to. I pushed back immediately.
I thought after the second suspension they had to do it. My only thing is you should never do a trade just because you feel as though it's got to happen. I thought his market would be better than what it was. Yeah. And I can still remember you and I hanging out, and when they said, oh, they might do a trade around Tyson Barrie, I went, has no one ever seen Tyson Barrie play? That's like the dead last guy that this team
thanks. I know.
Yeah, I absolutely did not want that. They ended up making that trade. But tonight was actually a swinging doors moment, or a swinging doors game for me, because I thought about Kadri trade, what would it have looked like had he stayed.
Yeah.
And I thought about what that trade would have looked like from Calgary had they just made the original one, because he didn't want to go to Calgary. He wanted to stay a Leaf. Remember, he nixed a deal that was for TJ Brody, which turned out to be okay.
What would the perception of TJ Brody be if he had been traded for Nazem Kadri? It's a sliding door.
His perception changes. There's obviously another piece that comes back from Calgary because he was a pending UFA.
Yeah.
But Dubas probably doesn't get nearly as much heat because Brody's just good and he is the type of defenseman they needed. Maybe that season that completely fell off the rails doesn't quite go that way because, dude, so much of that year was Babcock didn't want to play Barry because he thought he sucked, and he was,
which he was right.
Babs was right.
100% accurate.
Sheldon Keefe got a lot of love right away because he bumped Barry up, and then Barry started to produce. The team went on a bit of a tear, but then they started to fall apart. Would they have fallen apart the same way with a guy like TJ Brody back there? Like, their blue line was in shambles. Do they honestly, man, it's just that whole year could have been different with Brody and whatever Calgary had than that Tyson Barrie trade. The other sliding doors moment for me, or the sliding doors thing in watching that game, is everybody hates on Mark Hunter. Fair, whatever. This team, if not for Mark Hunter, Noah Hannafin is on the Leafs because Babcock pulls rank and gets that guy. Babs is wrong. Babs is wrong about Hannafin over Marner. And I couldn't help but think that tonight. What?
He scored tonight.
No, he looked great tonight. You know what Mitch Marner did, though? Also scored. It's just the game winner, his 23rd game in a row with a point. I'm pretty sure it's an irrefutable debate.
I wanted Hannafin so bad. I was anti Mitch Marner. I will admit
You're
lot of it.
London Knights, though.
That's what it was. I didn't want him. He scored an overtime winner against Owen Sound Attack in the playoffs before he got drafted, and like did a celly at the Harry Lunley Bayshore, and I wanted to throw batteries at him. I hated that kid's guts so bad. Like, oh my god!
You could have taken some off the shelf behind you and brought him to the game.
But no, honestly, bro, I hated his guts. So that's why I was on. Anyways, those are both excellent sliding door moments because Hannafin's cut himself out of career, but boy. Thanks, Mark Hunter, for taking your boy from your team in London. We appreciate it.
And Hannafin took the bad penalty at the end of the game where gets it up. Big mistake. It doesn't end up costing them, but Leafs should have probably gotten out of there in regulation, given that they had 4 minutes of power play time in the final 7 minutes of the game, right?
I thought Vladar made some pretty good saves, even though I know he let in 5 tonight, but I thought he made a couple pretty good. He's a big goalie. Like, he's definitely better than Markstrom. Like, from what I've seen from Markstrom, he just looks way more confident than Markstrom does. So they got a bit of a goalie controversy there.
Dude, Markstrom, Murray, all this stuff. Look at, Darcy Kempfer got that huge contract, and the two guys that left Washington are both having incredible seasons.
Vanacek he was like the first star of the month in November.
I will repeat this over and over and over again because it's one of the proudest takes I have in terms of projecting forward. But I told you this 7 years ago, 8 years ago, that goalies were going to become running backs. That you could not pay them. You could not pay them long-term contracts. That every league was going to start to go to guys that played less, and that the contracts were going to become you can play the Vasilevskis of the world if they've got insane track records, right? The Shesterkins. But everybody else gets 1 to 3 year deals.
Did you see Papetti's tweet the other day that 7 of the top 10 AAVs for goalies in the league, their save percentage is below 900.
Yeah. Yuck.
Awful.
Truly, truly disgusting. And this has been a year where offense is up.
For sure.
Which is wild because, as you know, people in the Leafs bubble, we go, it is?
Really?
Just the other teams are out there.
They just grind people to death every night.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys aren't just grinding teams. You're doing the goal thing. No, man, it's been a goal scorer's year. So that'll probably regress or come back to earth a little bit more. But either way, the point stands that you just can't end up doing this.
Got a couple quick things for you.
Go ahead.
First of all, we were robbed in overtime of our king, David Kampf, starting overtime. What'd you think? Kampf, Liljegren, Sandin. I got to tell you, I absolutely love the move by Keefe, being like, you know what? I've tried all this other shit, and it doesn't work. So, my king, David Kampf, over the boards.
Okay, so when I saw Kampf come out, I thought, like, for a second, my brain did I thought the Leafs were on the penalty kill. I thought that I missed some bench minor or something weird happened. Like I got up and I came and set up my laptop to do this right away. And then I rushed back to the TV and I just saw him take the draw. And I I went like, what happened? Why they Leafs took a penalty? It's outrageous that a team that has Tavares and Matthews, he started a 4-on, like a 3-on-3. It was a sight to behold. Anyway, it works because they drew the penalty right away. Bad,
but
the stick gets
I
up
would have
in
loved
face.
to see. I would have loved just to see what that looked like for
25
seconds. But he would have been off the ice immediately.
I also like that he put Sandin out there though, because thought Sandin again tonight was really good.
Yeah, that pairing's been amazing, dude. And that's I think that's probably his strategy is that he put Camp out there, who's great at winning the puck back, who's great at draws, who's great at kind of the defensive zone. Probably wanted to get the possession, get the two boys have it back in their own zone, and then send maybe Matthews or somebody Marner over the boards when they already have possession. So I thought it was an interesting one from him. My other thing for you, buddy, Matthews skates. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I've always been obsessed with gear, and I just love like jerseys and all this stuff. I wore tacks my whole life. I had tacks up until like 10 years ago. They were creaky as hell. They were the Reebok pumps. I always loved tacks. And he was wearing them. Who was he wearing them against the last game they played? And I was like, is he wearing, what the hell's up with those skates? And I'm like, well, he's with CCM. So maybe I sent out a tweet being like, are those like supposed to look like tacks? And then I saw the Instagram post today and I almost fainted. I was like, oh my God, these skates. That's my favorite thing Matthews has done in his career. Like not scoring, nothing, not the 4 goals in his debut. It's those skates, man. Those skates are
sexy.
so, and he's got his dog on the inside. Like he's a dog guy.
They're perfectly designed. They're perfectly designed. Honestly, like they are gorgeous. Those are top tier. My only other thing was like I already mentioned it. I thought Sandin was great tonight. I really liked Bunting. You could tell how badly, by the way, Nylander wanted to get that hat trick. Like he was really buzzing for it. He desperately wanted it.
Everything. He was firing everything at the net.
I don't know if you want to stick with like Leafs are going to have to continue to check out these options, but this is just a minor update. I didn't notice Joey Anderson until he took the penalty. No. So whatever that's worth. But Wayne Simmons, you like him in the lineup. I kind of do because he's Wayne Simmons, but to me, it's just his foot speed is just at a place now where I just don't think that he can play. I don't
listen.
See it.
I like it in this situation where you've already accumulated all these points and you're clear in a playoff spot, and you're going to be playing teams that have other guys on there that are somewhat tough or whatever. He can play 8 minutes a night and go in there and put a lick on somebody and look tough for 8 minutes on a team that I don't necessarily think needs a ton right now in terms of how well they're playing and how well their top guys are playing. I really don't mind it as a long-term option. Clearly not a good thing.
No,
I said before that maybe he could play a playoff game. I don't think that's true. I think he would get buried. He'd be playing for 4 minutes if they were playing in a playoff game. So I don't think that could happen. But just in the regular season, like I agree, it's sad. It's almost sad to watch because his decision-making is clearly still there, but he's just not catching up with it. Like there was a play in the offensive zone tonight where he just kind of, the puck was coming right to him. And he just like,
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
He just kind of like,
and that was when I wrote that. Yeah. That's when I wrote the note down of just, you can't do it. I said, I didn't mind the penalty that he took. Yeah. It to me wasn't really a penalty. He probably was going, what do you do? So I cross-checked the 6'9" giant barely. And you're going to put me in the box for that? Yeah. Come on, give me a break. Yeah. They evened one up on him. The other one was a stay on your feet penalty, but they had to call it. They were forced to. But it's all the little stuff in the game where he's just not able to make an impact on just about anything. So to me, it's you just keep rolling. You keep giving them the respect start once in a while of, hey, we're not going to just let you sit. Because
Blake Griffin on the Celtics once a week. Just play him once a week.
Yeah, but you mentioned them accumulating the points. They're there with Boston, man. This point streak that they've put together has really opened the possibility of getting out of the Atlantic death zone of you either face the Bruins or you face the Lightning. To me,
let them play each other. Oh my God.
But it's really becoming one of the goals of the season. When Boston got off to that torrid streak at the beginning of the year and the Leafs were in the dumps, you thought, okay, well, this is what's going to happen again. They played Tampa the other night. You thought this is what's going to happen again. Now I'm at the point where, to me, the goal of the regular season is always just stay healthy, keep the goalies healthy, continue to play that winning system that you have, but put some pressure on your group to make sure that you go out and you win the division. Go out there and get the most points. That's your path. That's your best path to getting out of the playoffs. Like, what, you think that you can't beat the Penguins that you've completely dominated in a playoff series, right? I would love to see the Leafs get that over Tampa or Boston. So that's the path for me, man. They've got to get that done. And so,
but then they'll win the President's Trophy and have that curse hanging over them along with their own curse. So
I don't care about President's Trophy. I just care about win the Atlantic and don't face the Bruins, don't face the Lightning, don't go through 7 games of hell against those teams where it's going to be a coin toss no matter what against those 2 teams. There's nothing the Leafs could do during a regular season or I don't see any scenario where that doesn't come down to a game 6 or 7 against either of those teams, right?
100%. 100%. And it's going to be dead even, and it's going to come down to a call and a bounce off somebody's ass.
Right.
That's what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I got nothing else from this one.
All good, bro. Great time.
Yeah. Enjoy your gruel in the bunker.
We're mixing in Borny this week, right?
Yeah. Born is going to be Tuesday with me and Thursday with you.
Beautiful. Then, looking forward to it.
Yeah. So we're going to have a little bit more like, listen, this is going to be a bit of the boys mixing in, and then we're going to have a holiday break. And then we'll be back, and it'll just be basically the 3 of us doing the same alternating until the end of the season. Although the 3 of us did buy tickets for a comedian for later in March. So there's going to be some fellas.
Is that a Saturday?
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
Oops. Probably should have looked at that one.
All 3 of us are going to be off then. So someone's filling on.
Keep your phone on, Luke Fox.
Yeah. Hey, Justin Cuthbert, keep it ready. Brent Gunning, Justin Cuthbert. Somebody's doing it March 11th. Anyway, for JD Bunkis, Sam McKee, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to the podcast. Leave 5-star review. Again, we're back live Tuesday, Thursday. It's only the Saturdays where we don't do the live stream. And we will catch you then. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.